Morena from Sheffield. Welcome to everyone as we get ready here for Turkey versus GB in the under-24 men's.
Lots of interesting outcomes at the end of this game, Edwin, as Turkey top the group, having not lost a single game yet in the competition. We also have the New Zealand team who sit above GB in the table, although that's a little bit of an incorrect, as the head-to-head result was in favour of Great Britain. Great Britain losing their only game to Turkey, New Zealand losing their only game to Great Britain. So just to summarise what will happen, if New Zealand beat Turkey, there will be a three-way tie at the top of the group once all games are played, and then it would go, because of the head-to-heads all cancelling each other out, it would go to the goals against, so GB would then mathematically likely sit third within the group. So GB really should be cheering for a Turkish win, because that would mean they finish in the second or third spot in the group, unless you feel another upset could be coming from somewhere within the group head.
Very tight start by both teams, battling very hard with the puck there in the centre of the pool, and not much leeway made either way. Just come to the wall here on the close side, on the near side. Both teams have lots of players down on support, and Turkey are making a break here towards the New Zealand goal. They're up towards the 5 metre line. New Zealand sweeping it to the far side, taking it away. Hopefully they've gone to the far wall. Excuse me.
Something's got to be the breaking point between these two teams in this match. As you've got New Zealand team which is well disciplined, well organised, and start at a younger age than the Turkish. But the Turkish have such a fantastic programme in place for their athletes. They're almost like professional underwater hockey players, if you can describe them as such a thing, and they have records that go with it with their rise in recent years. Current two-time champions of the under-24 men's divisions, Turkey, a division that the Kiwis have struggled in often, Edwin.
They have occasionally. The effect of their schools program starts to peter out by the time we get to the under-24 grade, but it still gives New Zealand a strong start and strong base to build on. We've currently got an advantage puck being awarded up towards the New Zealand end of the pool. It looks like it's been awarded to New Zealand, so they'll be looking to move this away and down towards the Turkish goal. Puck's coming wide there, all the way to the barriers, but the Turkish have managed to get it back. They're going up to the right-hand corner, as they said, for the New Zealand goal, putting lots of pressure on them. There's two Turkish down there supporting, one with the puck, one to support. There's a third player coming down. New Zealand similarly have got equal numbers down, taking it into the corner, waiting for the opportune moment to bring the puck out and make some ground. But Turkey are not letting them escape from the corner.
Trying to go through two sticks there, the captain, number 10, Nick Healy, and I think it's going to be a stick call against the Turkish. Yeah, called it. And out come the Kiwis onto their 5 metre line. They've been put under a lot of pressure to start the first half here by the Turks.
Oh, it's gone to the far side of the pool here now. Turkey unrelenting in their pressure. They know they've got to get that first goal to give them the edge over the New Zealand team. Oh, we have another referee's call. Referees have got a fantastic program in place here. I've seen them in the hotel at night, often reviewing games, discussing their performance and how they can improve and make it the best flowing game possible. New Zealand restart. Take the advantage puck. Taking it up the right-hand far wall. Turkey is stopping the ball. Big pass through the middle there, but Turkey managed to intercept it and regain possession and start driving towards the New Zealand goal, taking it back down that same far wall. It's good to see. So it shows the level of fitness and commitment of both teams, and you see, 3 and 4 players on the bottom, and that's what makes it dangerous for both teams, because any one moment someone can break out. The pass can go wide and around, and the team can make a break and score.
Yeah, this is going to be a very close one. The New Zealand men's elite were able to break through the Turkish elite men in Canada. They've still not had their elite worlds break through the Turkish team.
Oh, there we go, 2 New Zealand players on the stuck puck, trying to drive it up the middle here. Oh, we have another one.
An illegal use of the free arm against the Turkish, racking up a high foul count to start off the game as we get close to finishing the opening 5 minutes.
If my count is correct, I think that's 4 fouls already. If the Turkish are not careful, it may result in some players going into the bin.
It's the Turkish grouping in the formation that allows those little chip passes through to be cut out by somebody as they play with a front three, one sitting just behind them as like a sweeper to that front line, anything that gets knocked past them, in a guard before you end up on their 2 backmen, but an effective 2 backmen as New Zealand break into that back line now, and here goes the supporting player for New Zealand. Number four, Ben Pervo-Smith.
Turkish playing very strongly on the wall there. They've managed to drive it up 10 metres or so. They're now on the last 5 metres against New Zealand, going back into that corner as we hear the buzzer again.
You wouldn't say the Kiwis were ineffective on the wall, but it's not their go-to game style. But if anybody says, like, come on, we're going to play you on the wall, they'll happily come up to the task and say, okay, but as soon as we get it off the wall, you're going to have to play our game too.
Interesting call there. The referee looks like he's given a warning to one of the New Zealand players.
So a confusion between the players and deliberate encroachment, but Turkey making full advantage of the players being out of position as they go towards the back wall. If this doesn't go in, I'm sure we could have an advantage over. All the referees on the surface has finished their advantage, but the Kiwis could still get their play call. Interesting as he was the number 8 who was down, Fergus Griffin-George, one of the vice captains in the team, who was sort of pointing to the Turkish player saying, hey, it's going this way, and then the Turkish says, nope, I'm going to get it and I'm going to swim at you, and it was just very, very funny. So it's advantage to Turkey following a stick infringement and a warning for, I think, number 5. But the Kiwis aren't going to get given their team warning for encroachment, even though there was an advantage played through the foul.
Very tight tussle here outside the bin. New Zealand driving it out. They've got position to puck at the moment, going to the near wall.
Elliot Snedden there bringing the puck to the wall, dropping it back. There's Dylan Booth, the third of the vice captains within the New Zealand team, and there's Nick Healy moving on to the wall. Lovely little move to break off the wall, and now there's a chance for Nick Healy to start a counter-attack for his team. It's a 2-on-1 between the Turkish. Oh, and well done by the Turkish defender. That's Mert Erol who stopped him there.
If he hadn't stopped him, that would have been a New Zealand would have got a long way up the pool there. But again, we're back on the 5 metre line. Advantage puck to New Zealand in front of their own goal, or just the side of one goal, and we have a timeout. What's the referee's timeout? It looks like he's sending a player out.
Yeah, so Kiwi's going to go out, and so Kiwis are going to go down to 5, and I think the chief referee there from America just saying, hey, this is the referee who I was stopping the play for. I'm going to her foul because she was first. If you've got anything to add, you add afterwards, but it's an advantage to Turkey. The false take once and twice, the flick forward into the Kiwi backs, and they clear to the far side. And it's advantage New Zealand. Clark Samuel's time in the sin bin will seem significantly shorter.
Yes, every reset allows them to eat into the valuable time, so the player spends less game time or less play time in the bin. New Zealand restart, take it to the far wall, shooting out wide, trying to go around the core of the Turkish players. The Turkey then just close in on the wall, strong 6 formation. Looking at the other screen, we can see there's only 2 or 3 players on the surface at any one time. New Zealand breaking up the left-hand wall, near wall. They get stopped by 2 Turkish players who manage to counter-attack. They're bringing it back in. They've brought it centre of the pool. Driving it closer into the air. There's big melee forming, but New Zealand are driving it out. Still in the centre of the pool. trying to go up the middle channel. Turkey have recovered it and are driving back in. It's gone to the far corner. New Zealand will be looking to just to reset and get their formation going.
Really has been all Turkey this first half. New Zealand don't seem to have got out of their first half. Ooh. And there's the first goal of the game, a flick low, and it's going to be the first goal of the game awarded to Turkey, and they take the lead. Turkey 1, New Zealand 0.
It's taken 9 minutes to score, which shows how tight it is. Both teams giving it all. But yeah,
very tight but relentless all the same by the strong Turkish team, all that start out as fin swimmers and then get selected to say, we'd like you to change codes and go to underwater hockey and represent the national side for the Turkish Federation. And it's had clear successes as there's such good amounts of fitness, and this, you know, they're no slouches, they're big boys, but you know, they can really move in the water.
Yes. And what was interesting is, as soon as they got back to the wall, they set themselves up ready to go. They weren't waiting for 30 seconds. They were ready to go and champing at the bit, biting at the bit to just go out and attack New Zealand again and get another goal. We have a timeout though to the black team. It's only 15 seconds to go here. So both teams are ready to reset. New Zealand will want to regroup.
We've seen New Zealand on the back foot for the opening 10 minutes of this first half. What do they need to do to be more effective and take the game to Turkey and get back in the match ultimately?
It's a tough one because the Turkish have so many strengths, but New Zealand need to keep possession, and when they go wide like that, I feel that they need to have that player out wide.
Illegally stopping the puck and advantage Turkey. Yep, easy one to spot that as the player who went out for the strike caught it with his forearm.
Vantage puck taken, and Turkey just driving it straight up the middle towards the Kiwis. Kiwis taking it up the far wall. I think where they're struggling a bit is that they're used to going wide and going around, but it's not quite working because the Turkish strength on the wall is proving to be unbeatable for them at this stage.
Yeah, they're going through the phases of clear wide and break down the sides, but then that's just playing into the Turkish and saying, like, where do they want to defend? And as they try and go down the centre, they're trying to drive straight at the Turkish players, and they need to use their skills a little bit more, in my opinion, and just keep moving the puck. Don't let the Turkish get set, as now you can see they're driving. Lovely drive, and now they're trying to initiate all those 45s.
Very good effort there from New Zealand. They've taken it all the way up to the 3 metre line. The referees have spotted something. That was a very, very good, consistent effort there from the Kiwis. Great phase to bring it up, and it's one of the first times they've been actually on attack inside the Turkish quarter.
Yeah, chance now for this Kiwi team to break in as they try the underbody flick, but it's Turkey who come away with it. You need to be more clinical than that to beat this Turkish team.
Very rare moment where no one was on the puck there for 1 or 2 seconds, but New Zealand have got it again, trying to find a gap in the Turkish defence here. Turkey have got it, looking to come up the near wall.
Lovely little twist and turn, and still trying there Dylan Booth to move the puck out from under his body. Hold up play there by the Kiwis until another stoppage in play. A positive end so in response to going a goal down, Edwin.
Definitely New Zealand showing much more strength and ability here. Both teams now here at the recycling through the players. New Zealand bringing in 4 fresh players from the subs bin on the Vantage puck. So we reset and off they go again. Trying to bring it out wide, swinging across the pool. And the Turkish stop it going from fully wide. Lee going, but New Zealand have broken through, coming up the 3 metre line. Again, they've been very strong on this formation. Taken it's gone to the far corner there. Turkey hard on defence now, something that they're not used to here against the New Zealand team. Plenty of bodies on the bottom there. Turkey slowly bringing it out. Can they break through that melee, and they have. They're now sprinting out. There's a Kiwi one-on-one. He's managed to get the puck, and there's the buzzer for the referees.
Three minutes to go in the first half, and the Turkish decide now is a good time for them to take their time out. It's on the side. Oop.
New Zealand starting to show their skills and strengths, certainly coming better in the last 2-3 minutes against the Turkish. The bulk of the Turkish players have actually gone to their bin for a chat, and there's two sitting in front of the goal having a separate chat. The Kiwis in the middle there. Still 1-0 to the Turkey, but New Zealand would like to get one back before the end of the first half to tie it all up, make it a lot easier in the second half as we come down to the last 5 seconds of the white timeout. And here we go, the restart. Lots of bodies on the ground there, and New Zealand driving it forward. They've gone back up to the within the last lane, and the referee spotted something, sending a player out, and it's a white cap. Yep, so Turkey will be down to 5. It will offer some advantage to New Zealand.
Do remember though that the clock does not stop within the last 2 minutes of the first half, so they really need to get on with this, the Kiwis, if they're wanting to convert from such a promising position. And surely this is going to be an encroachment call. No, they say that he touched the puck before the Turkish went, and New Zealand being punished by trying to draw the Turkish team offside.
Certainly have been, because Turkey have managed to push it all the way back up to the halfway mark and almost 3/4 out the pool. New Zealand have regained and looking to capitalise, and here we go, got a sprint on here, breaking down the far side.
Lovely, he's trying to turn the corner, but Turkey have taken it off him.
It's gone back into the corner.
Stoppage though, so if it's in favour of New Zealand, which it is, for another obstruction, number 11 is going out to the side. So even though number 13, who sat on the side, Saditin Ibrahim, and I don't know how the vowels are pronounced in his final name, I am sorry, but he will still be waiting on the side until the puck is touched, and it's going to be a 6-on-4 drive, and New Zealand have to convert here. Surely as Turkey go back up to 5, and here's the drive to the corner. Oh, the underbody flick straight at him, and then the second time he gets his stick onto it, but the Turkish look to say, is there anything you've seen?
And it is a goal to New Zealand. They've equalised, taking it back up to 1-1 with 20 seconds to go in the first half.
I think I know exactly what the Turkish player was complaining about, because Nick Healy, my most valuable player from the final in Quebec, as he turns, he inside flicks it under his body, and he doesn't know what's behind him. If it hits a player there, it's considered unsportsmanlike conduct if it's seen, and that's the key phrasing there as to if that foul is seen, and that goal takes us to half time. But obviously the foul was not seen, so the referees either watched it and deemed it to be safe, or the obstruction of Nick Healy's body being able to not see what's behind on what the puck might have hit. But Nick Healy did the job, stopped the puck from being sent out to the corner, and kept the goal.
Contrary to what's on the screen, there is actually only one Turkish player out, and that's Umar. The other gentleman is back in the game, so the game will restart with Turkish with 5 players in versus New Zealand's 6 players.
Another look into the game here, and maybe a draw would be a good result in this one for Great Britain, because a draw would make GB would still be ahead of New Zealand. Turkey would be within 1 point. Turkey still to play France, I believe, within the group. France will offer them a tough test, being the team currently sat in 4th. Only a goal separated them and Great Britain.
Have the French had a win against someone this morning? Because before the table was showing them at 15 points.
See what a simple refresh does on this web page. I won't make you go and watch all of that. So yeah, so the table that we were looking at is correct, because the French have 18 points from 8 games, whereas GB and New Zealand haven't. So having that updated, yeah, we can see that France are closing in on the pack.
They haven't played 8 games compared to Turkey's 6 games. Mind you, the French may only have 1 game today and Turkey may have 2. Depending on how the draw is. Some days they play 2 games, some days they only play the 1.
Well, we can have a look at that as well. We can have a look at today's schedule, but we'll do that probably during one of the upcoming breaks, when the teams take their time out. So yes, France beating South Africa 6-2 earlier. Currently now we've got Turkey, New Zealand, other games in the group that follow that will matter. Great Britain and Australia. Australia still poised to give some upsets. And then South Africa, New Zealand later on this afternoon. But I still believe that maybe if it remains in the group at a later stage, it might be Turkey playing France that could be a saving grace for Great Britain.
Both teams taking off.
And that game for GB France is one of the last games in Pool A tomorrow. So look out for that one. Big flick, but a great control there by Elliot Snedden.
It's a good catch by number 7. Turkey driving up the wall. New Zealand players hard in defence. Trying to stop him. It's currently 2 on 1. It's gone to the corner. It's very quickly gone from one end to the other. New Zealand were looking to be on attack, and now it's the New Zealand who are defending.
Looked like a hit on the stick there by the Turkish player, but play continues. Just all the time there, the Turkish coming down with their stick behind the Kiwi player's stick, and that's gone unnoticed. Turkey trying to drive and find and force a hole to go through, but New Zealand clear it off their tray for the moment. It's twisting and turning. Can they get out and away? I think a stick foul is going to say yes, you can, because there was a whole massive sticks. Yep, there we go.
So advantage puck to New Zealand on their 5 metre line. They'll be hoping to get it further away than the 5 metres. Everyone going down. And there we go, New Zealand taking it out to the near wall. 3 players there, they've curled the ball to try to bring it back in. The Turkish effectively stopping them with their numbers on the bottom as well, and they take it to the wall. Turkey coming in for the back tackle, forcing the Kiwis back a bit further. Now it's just pure pressure on the wall as we go back to the referees. And again, it looks like another call against Turkey. The penalty, the number of calls from Maddox Turkey is certainly far greater than what is against the New Zealanders.
Good charge that time by the Turkish line, but it might be that he did jump offside. No, he controlled it illegally and advanced it forward incorrectly, the Turkish player, as he came through the line, but great little move to get right at the Kiwi advantage puck taker. There's Nick Healy. Nick Healy's away. Flat flick out to the wall. Flick down the wall. The player not blocked there by the Turkish player. He had his body there well before the Kiwi decided to flick down the wall. The New Zealand team twisting and turning as they go around.
Certainly showing a lot more attack from the New Zealanders this time round. And there they go, bring it on the inside. Breaking through. There's even Stevens in terms of numbers.
Yeah,
Turkey managed to get possession and taken it out to the far wall.
Good strong 45, that swim by the New Zealand team.
And they're bringing it in. He's right in the centre in front of the goal now. They're getting very close. But Turkey have gained the puck, taken it out to the corner. Referees have spotted something. They're pointing to the bin.
Yeah, and it's going to be another 6-on-5 power play in favour of New Zealand as Turkey go down to 5, using their bodies in an illegal manner to stop the New Zealand team before they cleared. So Another chance now for New Zealand to take the lead in this match for the first time. Oh, a flat sliding flick out to the side. It's still in the centre. Good work by New Zealand to contain and not lose the puck there. Out to the far corner, going to curl, drop it inside. The player's still waiting in the middle. Excellent job by New Zealand game management, continuing to drive, continuing to keep the puck in that central channel. It's going towards the goal. It's gone in the goal, Edwin. 2-1 New Zealand, surely.
2-1. Let's get confirmation from the referees. It's looking good. And there we have it. 2-1 to New Zealand. They are certainly looking better in the second half than they were in the first 10 of the first half. Starting to control it more. And their effort is starting to pay off as they now seem to have the measure of the Turkish team.
Goal scored by Ben Pevor-Smith.
You're pleased with that. Turkish players got about 10 seconds out. 10 more seconds before they can resume. And it'll be 6-on-6.
Turkey winning the lead off. It's coming out to the near side, camera side wall.
New Zealand continue with that same relentless attack. Knowing that they've got the advantage of 1 goal up, they're hoping to keep the pressure on and hopefully Turkey will crack and give them a 2-goal advantage to New Zealand.
It's brilliant the set plays that the Kiwis are able to pull off throughout this game. Having the swims, drawing the Turkish into the fouls, and then converting when they need to, which Turkey, haven't been able to do as much on their advantage pucks. But Turkish having a good rolling drive, and when they get that going, it's very hard to defend against.
It certainly is. Turkish have managed to push the Kiwis back into their own 3-metre line. New Zealand defending on the far wall, far side. Turkey haven't brought it up. Turkey certainly won't want another goal against them. They want to equalise against New Zealand. They realise the importance of this game as well. Well, New Zealand's pushing the Turkey back. They've got a break here. Sprinting for the far goal. Looks like he's going the full length. He's got another player in support. Will he get the pass off? Well, the Turkish defender has managed to get it, take it to the far corner. We've gone literally from end to end.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting call. There's going to be a referee's timeout. Shame we don't have action replay because Mert Erol, the Turkish elite player, had an incredible swim on there. He was started out at the feet of the Kiwi attacker and he kick all the way over the top, gets there, puts in a big hit, and it's deemed not to be a fair challenge. But I don't think this would have been a certain goal. I think the defender's just come in, he's tried to play the puck the best he can, and he's probably caught a bit of, either the glove or the stick.
Yeah, the big decision here would be, if it wasn't clean, does it constitute a potential penalty goal?
And the ruling and wording on that is still the same. It would have to be a certain goal in the eyes of the referees. Otherwise, it would likely be a 2-minute penalty for a stick infringement that stops a likely goal outside the 3-metre area, which is an advantage puck to New Zealand, 6-on-5.
Penalty goal awarded. Turkey will not be happy about that. They will not be happy. That gives New Zealand a 3-1 advantage. Certainly have to give credit to New Zealanders for breaking out and literally taking it up to the other end so quickly like that.
Yeah, no, it was a chance out of nothing, and now New Zealand with the sizable advantages. A timeout. Timeout taken? No.
We're restarting, and we're off again.
Yeah, the referee's timeout ended. Could have come off when they'd confirmed the penalties. The goal was awarded. Turkey on the attack straight away, but New Zealand have come away with the puck.
Turkish players certainly are using their strength, their advantage, and just driving in there for the tackle. We spotted a glove foul, and there's a Turkish player in the bin. The
desperation, I think, from Turkey. They've gone 2 goals behind, and they really need to come out and perform now. So it's going to be a tough test to see if the Turkish team can indeed convert from going behind. They're not used to being behind in any of the matches that they play.
No, they're not used to being behind. They've been, as I said, undefeated so far, and it looks like the New Zealand team is going to reverse that trend, which is fantastic for them, and shows their skills and effort they can do so. New Zealand currently with the puck in the middle of the pool. and the referees have spotted something. Both teams still very equal in ability. No one's really dominating.
New Zealand are having a player sent out to the sin bin. It's Benjamin Richards. So 5 on 5. Dennis will have his time tick down, and these players will probably get in at about the same time as we get underway. 4 seconds difference. Turkey still will be 6 on 5, but only for a matter of 4 seconds as their advantage puck does not come off. The flick through, cut out well by New Zealand. Halfway through the second half, New Zealand lead by a score of 3-1. Lovely little inside flick, lovely little inside deke, and then squashed between two Turkish bodies.
But New Zealand still pushing on them, still trying to take the puck off the Turkish players. Looking for options, swinging it inside.
Lovely little turn as he came down there. Beautiful move, and he's away. Is that Ben Pevor-Smith? I think it is, number 4.
And up on the 3 metre line, New Zealand flick it inside to their player who's taken it out. He's very close to the corner of the bin, but Turkey drive it out to the corner. New Zealand have got possession again, looking to go round. And the referees have spotted something.
That move by Ben Pevor-Smith really opened up the Turkish defence there. They're very strong all times, the Turkish players, but you can outskill them, and you have to turn on the afterburners if you're going to keep away from them when you start swimming, as Errol just proved when he was able to catch the player who was well away. Penalty goal, very interesting call.
When the start,
and here we go.
Both the players in the sin bins are going to get back in, so it's back on 6 on 6. But New Zealand on attack, and there's a goal. Puck's certainly in the bin. Well, the referee's calling. They're signalling it's a goal. Confirmation. 4-1 to New Zealand. They'll be absolutely static with this.
Really, really interesting that that play by New Zealand, as you had an incredible, situation where they had an advantage puck, but none of their players were ready to take it, and then all of a sudden they just sort of improvised, which isn't really a Kiwi thing. Everything's rehearsed, everything's done. They've all got these signals which signify which play they are going to do and how they're going to do it, and that just seemed like it was, old school hockey. Just drive it towards the goal. If it spits out, drive it back towards the tin, and it worked, Ed. Let's be honest, it did work, but it's not as routine or organised as we know the Kiwis to be in this game.
Certainly is, and Turkey here actually looked to be panicking a bit, because they were just pausing and holding the puck, going like, what did I do with it? Well, the New Zealanders kept the pressure on, and right on the goal mouth here. Is it another goal? Is this going to be a 5th goal?
No, this is cleared by Turkey, and they go to the far corner, but no, we've got to stop. And the officials say, yes, it was a goal.
It did go in.
And it's Ben Pevor-Smith with his 2nd goal of the match.
New Zealand just running away here. This was totally unexpected considering how close so many of the games have been. I have a funny feeling that the New Zealand style of play has changed, or the way they're playing is just countering the Turkish really well here in the last 20 minutes or so of game.
New Zealand have a very, very, very tough game later today. Let's have a look at the standings first of all once again.
Turkey taking the puck, driving up the left-hand side here. It's gone off the screen. It's down on the wall there. New Zealand have got possession again. Again, we've got 3-4 players from either side. It's gone down to one-on-one. Turkey driving it down the wall. New Zealand have got possession in the corner there, preventing it from coming in. Still lots of bodies there. Good to see so many refs you can see in the same screenshot, which means they're down and looking as well, watching the game closely to make sure it's as clean as possible. Turkey coming over the top there for the tackle. Referees have spotted something. The referee at the back there was having an interaction with one of the Turkish players.
So, looking at the table, this is all very interesting, and we'll look at the table shortly. It's Turkey who are on the drive, and if you're a GB fan watching this game with some interest, as the puck's just left alone and everybody's fighting, what's the call going to be? Looks like it's against New Zealand for an illegal use of the free arm.
It is.
Advantage Turkey. So if you are a GB hockey fan watching, you should start cheering for Turkey. New Zealand are going to win the game, but if you want Great Britain to top the group, you need to start cheering for Turkey, because the goals against, as we now have a break, we can clip and look to the table. The three-way tie would be between Turkey, New Zealand and Great Britain. Great Britain beating New Zealand, New Zealand beating Turkey, and Turkey beating Great Britain. So the head-to-heads are cancelled out. It then goes to the goals against. The goals against for this match have not yet been added to the table. So when we put on the overlay once again, we see that 5 goals scored for New Zealand mean that Turkey's goals against goes up to 10, putting them behind Great Britain. New Zealand still have to play France, and their goals against has gone up to 7. So, very interesting, and a lot of attention will be given, I'm sure, by the Great Britain men's team to the game later today, France versus New Zealand. We will have live commentary for you on Navision 1, as we like to call this channel. As the Turkish are driving. Come on, Turkey, says the GB fan. They couldn't convert that time.
New Zealand playing tough here because they've only got 4 in the water. There's 2 in the bin. Fergus Griffin George gets back in about 10 seconds time. Turkey big flick to the corner there at the goal. Defended again by the Kiwis. Knowing there's only 4 in the bin, they've got to do their bit. And we stop the referees again, which will give them a bit of breathing space.
Yeah, if this goes in favour of Turkey, then, and it looks like it has as the Kiwi players set up on the wall.
As soon as puck is back in, as soon as the play starts again, Fergus will be able to get back in, trying to leave 1 New Zealander on the side.
Vadik, 2 Turkish trying to tackle themselves, and it goes to the corner of the goal. Oh, and it's cleared once again by New Zealand. They're surviving really well when it matters, and maybe they've heard me commentating saying that the Turkish need to score to allow Great Britain a chance. But we'll see what happens in the French game later. But New Zealand really turning on the show to score 5, and a chance. Big flick forward, knocked down by the left hand of the Turkish player. Laid off, curl off the wall, flick into the centre. There's players waiting. A good intervention by the Kiwi player there, number 6.
Both teams stopping there, thinking that it was a referee's call, but it wasn't. The players carried on. It's gone to the far side of the wall.
Yeah, even I got confused. I changed the camera to the surface. But
New Zealand
here you go.
breaking, one-on-one. He's up nearly up to halfway, flicking back to the New Zealand sport player, who's caught out as Turkish match. But New Zealand's still driving forward. They've got another player passing it. There's the 4th player in this phase, flicking through. He's curled and gone back the other way, changing direction slightly on the 45. They've managed to bring it up 3 quarters way out the pitch, but Turkey have got it back and are swimming back round.
6-on-6 hockey as Nick Healy re-enters the water. There he is in the left of your picture, going in to make a play on the puck. But Turkey still driving, still chance for Turkey to get a late consolation goal that could have massive implications to the overall standings in the game. And Turkey trying to drive off the wall here now.
Just over 48 seconds to go. New Zealand bringing it to the near wall. They're still trying to get it as far away from their own goal as possible. Possibly even get a 6th goal. That's their. They drive it up the wall here. It's goes around the Turkish player and back in again. Turkey have currently got the puck, looking what to do. Flick through or chip through. Turkey's players are there driving again. There we go. They're bringing it further back up the wall.
Last chance for Turkey, and it's not going to happen. We've got a stoppage on 20 seconds left. Advantage Turkey, but it's going to be most likely too little too late, as the Kiwis can get everybody between the puck and the goal, and they should be well trained and well disciplined enough to have a 20-second holdout. Yep. As Ben Pevo-Smith gets down there, noticeable by his long hair. It's nice that he leaves his numbers on sideways for the cameras, and over to the near side wall we go. Mert Errol pushes off.
All the New Zealanders do is either keep possession and retain it, or just slow the Turkish down so they cannot score. 2 seconds down, 1 second, and that's game.
Yes, that is the game. Final score: New Zealand 5, Turkey 1. And after going into the closing moments of the first half, down by 1-0 and then just equalising at half time, they came out in the second half the better team, and a 5-1 scoreline. I think beyond what a lot of people would have thought in this game. They'd have thought it'd be a lot closer, but New Zealand really turned up the heat when they came out in the second half, Edwin.
Definitely did. given the close scores between GB and Turkey, and then and also GB versus New Zealand, no one expected. I would certainly didn't expect a big difference in scorelines between these two teams.
So that was the table before the match. That'll get updated shortly. Once we log off here, I'll be typing away on my laptop to update those scores, and the score means that New Zealand will top the group with 7 goals against. Great Britain will be second in the group with 9 goals against, and Turkey will be third in the group with 10 goals against.
However, Turkey and Great Britain will have a game spare, I believe. They will, because that's New Zealand's 8th game.
Yes, they will. So Great Britain and Turkey can catch up to them, so New Zealand will move on to 21 points, and then the closing pack, as long as they convert in their other games. It will be interesting to see the team's defence now, because Great Britain have a lot of games where they're playing the likes of, I think they've got Australia and Italy today. Italy surprising a lot of people with how high they are in the table, but just who they've played might also have implications to that. Have they played any of the big boys? But all these, teams that are lower down in the table, when they can get 1 goal against one of these top 3 teams, maybe top 4 depending on how France do, but they've got a second loss which I don't think they'll overcome. A lot of attention on the Turkey-France game later this afternoon, because if New Zealand and France game this afternoon, if France were to beat New Zealand, then Great Britain would go top.
Certainly would. That would be a surprise one, but I would still put my money on the New Zealand team to beat France, given that their versatility and their ability to adapt to the different plays and styles of games they're facing from other teams. A lot of experience in that New Zealand team, and it showed there, certainly with them coming from 1 behind, actually winning 5-1.
Well, thank you very much, Edwin, for joining me in the commentary booth, finally. It's taken a while, but what a great match for you to commentate for your first one. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into that one. The final score in this match, New Zealand 5, Turkey 1.